Hello, everybody. This is Brendan here, along with my good friend Colton.
Hello.
And today, we're going to be doing our first podcast. What is it? Well, if you looked at the title, or if you're just blind, we're doing a podcast on the Teletubbies reboot.
Yeah, we're gonna first of all we're gonna talk about series one before we get to series two. We're mostly gonna be talking about its flaws and a little bit of good things about it. Yeah, let's go on and start the video.
Yeah. All right. So for the for the intro, I think they did a pretty nice job on making the sunrise seem more realistic.
Yeah, even though they didn't have an actual land or acres, and they used a set instead, it was still pretty good. Because, I mean, like, right now,
Yeah.
as we speak, the original one is gone. It's gone.
Uh-huh. It's been turned into a lake.
Yeah. To be honest, just for fun, I would still go see it if I lived in the United Kingdom, either way. I don't care if it's a lake or it's still there. I'd still go.
Yeah. And also, going back to the reboot, I also liked how they added titles to the episodes to make to oh yeah, I like how they added I like how they added the titles of the episodes in the intro to help kids understand what the episode is.
Yeah, in the original, they didn't even have that. Apart from the specials, but, like, in the reboot, I thought that was a cool little thing they added.
Yep. And not only that, but under the title call, but not only that, but under the titles, they would show the writer who wrote the episode.
If
They
I
would show the person who wrote. Like under the title, they would show the person who wrote that episode.
Yeah, but as the little kids read the titles, I don't think they'll know who the writers are.
Or let's just put it as writer.
Yeah. And the best part about that is it's about the entire thing. The Teletubbies are back. That is cool.
Yep. And you know, yep. And I do like the intro for. I do like the in. I do like the. I do like the new music for the reboot, even if it can be a little lazy at times. But there's just one problem with the intro. When the Teletubbies are running through the fields, you could see three voice trumpets. But in the original, they had five voice trumpets. One of them wasn't even used.
Yeah. But here's my question. If they got a hold of the original three, where's the other two?
I'm guessing they just took a voice trumpet. I'm guessing they just took a voice trumpet from the original series and just made two other copies of them.
Whether that or they just 3D printed three of them only.
Yeah, I'm guessing that too. And
And if it was
and
3D printed, they did a good hell of a job of making it look like the original voice trumpets. Holy shit.
yeah, even if they are off color.
Yeah. In the original, it was dark and it looked damped, like dark yet light. And that's what made it look like metal, even though it wasn't really made of metal.
Yep.
But in the reboot, it's just like, yeah, let's just do the spray paint like that, and there we go. Bada bing, bada boom, we got a voice trumpet. Let's use it.
Yep. And this might be small, but if any of you guys look closely at the voice trumpet from the intro, you can see a little dent at the top.
I know, some of them have dents in it.
What did they do? Did they just throw a couple coins at it to make it look like they were real?
Whether that or the 3D printer, or they just whether the 3D printer made a little mistake, or they just dropped the voice trumpets.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go to the baby son. I even though I do like the baby son in the reboot, even though she's a little bit more cuter than Jessica Smith,
Yeah, Jessica Smith is like
she
in her
isn't even.
20s. She's in her 20s right now. And if we ever have an interview with Jessica Smith, that'll be one of the most happy days of my life. And Anna Wood.
Yeah.
Annie Wood. I would love to interview
Yes.
Annie Wood. Oh my god, I would really want
It,
to.
hold on. It's Ann Wood. Not Annie.
I don't know why I keep calling her Annie instead of Anne. What? Okay, I'm sorry. Uh-oh.
I'm guessing you were watching too many Little Einsteins.
Yes, I was. God dang. And that's also another episode we'll be talking about for another day.
Yeah. All right. Speaking. Oh, okay. Anyways, even though the baby son looks a little bit more interesting and a little bit more realistic, and that she sounds a little bit cuter than Jessica Smith,
Yeah, but there's only
she isn't
one.
even looking at the. Hold on.
Alright, sorry,
Don't
sorry.
cut me off.
Sorry. Go on.
Okay. Without any more cutting offs, without any more cut offs, even though she sounds a little bit more cuter in the than Jessica Smith, she isn't even looking at the fucking camera.
And
Yeah.
and the thing is,
And
and the thing is, in the behind the scenes video that Milton Teletubbies, also shout out to him, that he uploaded, it looks totally different than the one that we see on TV right now.
I'm guessing they just did that just for the behind the scenes video. And also if you notice in that one clip where they had the baby in a high chair when they showed the stuffed animal, you'll see why she keeps looking downward.
Someone keeps shoving a teddy bear in her face. In the original, it had the Jessica Smith's father um cheering her up.
Yes, yeah.
And
Yes. Yes. Like I saw an article on Jessica Smith as the baby's son. I think they put her in a high chair. They had the camera on, and I think her father waved the teddy bear behind the camera to make her smile and giggle, and that's why the baby son is always happy.
yeah, and there was another article. I think it was the same one that you were talking about, but I read another part how like some people that worked with the Teletubbies were looking for a baby to be the baby son.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're kind of right.
There's only okay. If we had to interview with the Teletubbies crew, I would interview you and me would interview Jessica Smith, Ann Wood. What was the other one? Who was the co-creator that worked with Annie Smith? Ann Smith.
And Andrew Davenport.
Yes, him too, and the prop maker and the original Teletubby voice actors. Mostly Poe.
The original what?
The original Teletubbies.
The original what?
Original voice actors. Mostly Poe.
Yeah. Uh huh. Now, let's get back to the reboot because we're starting to get a little off topic.
Yeah, and speaking of voice actors, in the reboots, they sound freaking high. They sound high.
Yeah.
Energetic.
One of my big complaints about one of my big complaints about the Teletubbies voices is mostly Dipsy.
He sounds depressed. Like the way he sounds, he goes like, "Oh." He sounds a bit depressed, like he doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah. Oh, you think that? You think that? Oh, you think that? Oh, you think that? Oh, that. Oh, so that's what you think? Well, in the original Teletubbies, they got an African American comedian to be Dipsy, and for this new Dipsy, they got someone who's either Asian or Korean.
Well, actually, let's cut that part out because I don't want nothing to get racist.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, the new voice actors sound high and Dipsy sounds depressed, but like, I think they're still cute, but not as cute as the original ones.
Yeah, and yeah, and I do like. And I also like that they used. I also liked how they used. They have They have a tune for like a big hug theme or something. But but the complaint I have about it is that it's overused, and every single segment has to end with some fucking big hug.
You want?
And that's why I always skip. And that's
Yeah. You want to know what else is the biggest, one of the most horrifying flaws in the reboot?
What is it?
Where the hell did the magical events go? Where were the magical events? There was none. None at all.
Yeah, exactly. And but there was an episode where I think it was flying, and they showed an image of like some sort of magical, sparkly loop to loop. I was hoping that was going to be a magical event, but no, it was just some unexplained thing in the sky.
Yeah. Oh, to mention this now, we're not hating on the Teletubbies reboot. We like it. We love it. I love it. But it's just that a few things need improving.
And we say, and when we say a few things, we mean so much stuff that we can't even count.
Yeah, so I say few because there's a lot that I can't count either, so I just say few. Alright, so let's not go
Uh
off
huh.
topic. Let's not go off topic and go on what we were coming here today.
Uh huh. Okay, so in the first episode, at least they tried something original. They tried something original with the. They tried something original with them having big hugs and Poe not having not knowing who to big hug, and well um and also um in the in a lot of episodes of the reboot they in a lot of episodes of the reboot they rip off segments from the original.
Yeah, they're shorter this time, and plus they're more like remake. Even though they're remaking it, which is cool because some of them were my favorite, but like, come on. And here's another flaw.
Exact what?
They shrunk down from 25 minutes to 14. Oh, wait, no, 24 minutes to 14. They shrunk it down 10 minutes from the original.
Yeah, they shrunk it down. Yeah, they like cut the budget and they like cut the time in half.
Yeah. I'll admit, the new
Um,
technology and the uses of it is pretty good in the reboot. Something never been done
yeah.
in the original.
Uh huh. And here's another thing I seem to find kind of distract. Here's another thing that I seem to find confused by. You know how in you know how in the original they after the Teletubbies fell over, there was always like some little bell sound effect where they go ding a ling ding a ling ding a ling ding a ling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they don't use it in this. They don't use it in this reboot.
Yeah,
Nothing.
they only used the sitting down sound effect, the little noise.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it was either like some sort of trademark thing with Ragdoll Productions, but at least give them permission to use that little bell sound effect. Not to have, not don't just make the Teletubbies have those little sitting sound effects and get away with not having that little bell sound effect at all.
Yeah. All right. Now we're going. Now this time, now we're going to move from the Teletubbies to Teletubbyland itself. This time now.
Yeah. Although Teletubby Land looks cool, I kind of find it a bit smaller than usual
I know
because in the
this.
back yeah, because in the backgrounds and all the segments, we could really because in the backgrounds of all the segments, we could see the Superdome or I'm sorry, Home Dome, even in the Tummy Tails.
And in the original, we could see the Ren wheel from afar. When in Teletubbyland, it's nowhere to be seen. It's like it just appears for Tummy Tails and then just disappears from nowhere.
Yep. And another thing I seem to find pointless is that they make the windmills stop all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why they made it stop. Like in the original, at least it had an actual purpose.
Yeah. And
Like for example, what?
speaking of the original windmill, oh my god, the reboot windmill looks freaking weird. It looks freaking ugh.
Awful.
Am I look, not to be mean about the Teletubbies reboot? Like I said, it's great, but there are some things that need to be changed. But the windmill looks disgusting. It looks ugh.
Yeah, they didn't even try. They just took a farm windmill and then just like, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, let's.
Oh, sorry. Someone's calling me. Alright, sorry about that. Go on.
Yeah, um, they just took a farm windmill and was like, hey, okay. I think they were just searching up for random windmills, and then one of them said, "That's the one. Hey, we could use a farm windmill." But isn't that a little too simple? Screw that. We're using it in our new series, so no doubt about it.
Yeah, and when I first saw the reboot windmill, I thought it was like a little model, but when it showed it in the new reboot behind the scenes, it was CGI.
Uh, I'm kind of guessing that they just switched between model and CGI.
Well, if they did have a model of it, then why, if they did, like I said, I was confused. But if they did have a model, then why can't we see it in Teletubbyland where the Teletubbies are playing around when in the excuse me, original, it had them playing around, but with the windmill in the background.
Exactly. It's like the windmill just pops out of the ground and gives off a signal for no reason, and um, well, it just tells the Teletubbies, "Hey, it's time for a Tubby Tail. You better get your asses up."
Yeah, not just that. There's only two times in the reboot the windmill appears for Tummy Tails and for Tubby Bye Bye, and that's it.
Yeah, at least make some magical events like they did in the original.
I would love to see that. And oh my god, when a Tummy Tail starts and the Teletubbies are inside, have a window.
Exactly. Exactly. You can't just have the same windmill clip like 60 times. You can't just have the windmill. You can't just have the windmill be there without a window for over 100 times.
Yeah, I mean like, and me and Brennan, before we started recorded this podcast, me and him were talking about a few things that we already mentioned, but I would have been happy just to see a stock image. I don't care as long as it has a window and its purpose. I don't care. I would at least have a stock image. And plus, they use too many stock images of voice trumpets too.
Yeah. It's like they did a hypocritical move where they used stock images on voice trumpets, but not on the windmill.
Yeah. So now this time, um, usually in the reboot, sometimes they'll like have different moments instead of remade ones from the original. In the first episode of Making Friends, in my opinion, that is one of the most wonderful, created, amazing episode for a first reboot episode. And in my opinion, that's the only one good. It wasn't rushed. They took their time, and it came out wonderful. But as it continued, everything went rushed and procrastination.
Yeah. Like they just went from a realistic looking Teletubby land to just a cartoonized reimagining of it.
Yeah, not just that. Okay, now
And I'm
since we already talked about the intro and the tummy tails and all, we're gonna move on to Tubby Bye Bye.
Oh god, yeah. Oh
Oh
my god,
boy.
do we have a lot? Oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about it? Talk about it. Now, in the original, the voice trumpet would always pop up of some flowers with some rapids in the background, and it was far away. But now in the reboot, they just took a voice trumpet and faced it towards the camera.
Yeah,
But they said, yeah, not only that, but they also said time for Tubby Bye Bye twice instead of 3 times.
yeah. And here's another thing: they didn't use the right one.
Exactly.
It's like the crew at Teletubby and that worked on the Teletubbies reboot said, "Hey, that one's my favorite one. How about we keep using that one for now on?" Hey, yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm guessing that's Daryl McQueen in a nutshell. because not to mention they also worked on Baby Jake.
Uh, I liked Baby Jake, but not much.
I'm just gonna call it as a boring blandness.
Okay, sorry, we went off track again, but let's continue. Tubby Bye Bye is I mean, in the first episode of the reboot, I mean, like, it was alright, but as it continued, it looked like it was, like I said before, procrastinated.
And it's like some sort of template. It's like some sort of like pattern that the Teletubbies have. Big hug, windmill not stopping, Tubby bye bye.
Yeah, not just that, okay? In the original,
Mm-hmm.
when the narrator said bye bye Tinky Winky Dipsy La La Po the first time, they went they disappear. But they come back to say boo, and they repeated the same process, but this time they didn't pop up and say boo. When in the reboot, the narrator said bye bye Tinky Winky and Dipsy, they went down and they came back up, and instead of saying bye bye Tinky Winky Dipsy La La and Po again, he just said bye bye Teletubbies, and that was the end.
Uh-huh. Like you said, they procrastinated. And also, as much as I do like the original, and not only that, but Lala and Poe's places are switched.
What do you mean?
Like in the original Tubby Bye Bye, when the Teletubbies were behind the hills, it was Poe, Tinky Winky, Dipsy, and Lala. But in the reboot, it's Lala, Tinky Winky, Dipsy, and Poe.
Oh, yeah, now I know what you were talking about. Yeah, and the same thing with the, going back to the intro, it's the same thing. But they kept Poe and Lala in the same spot, but they switched Tinky Winky and Dipsy in the background.
Yeah. So, what does this mean? If you could at least film new parts instead of just reusing Lala and Poe's parts.
Yeah.
Well, I think they did it a few times in the Teletubbies reboot, but that's about it. And also, Antonia Thomas did a pretty mediocre job on saying the final narration. Instead of goodbye, she said bye bye.
Yeah, in the original they said Teletubbies say goodbye, like in a normal way, but in the reboot, they said it more childish. I mean, like, we're not saying the voice actors are bad. It's just that the script, the way it was narrated and the way it was written, it's just like, what the fuck?
Exactly. I don't blame Catherine Williams because I kind of blame Catherine Williams for that since she is the writer for every single Teletubbies episode now.
Yeah, every single time when I see the title of an episode, that's her only name we see as the writer.
Yeah, why can't they just have new writers appear? Like, oh, I don't know, Andrew Davenport?
Yes, oh my god, we hardly ever seen an episode written by him. No wonder why some of the reboot episodes are a bit childish, just because Andrew Davenport hardly got any chances to write any episodes.
Yes, and the only time he was ever credited was for the original creation.
I'm speechless. Okay, now this time, since we already talked about the stuff we already gone through, this time we're going to talk about three things: the inside home dome, the voice trumpet, and the thing I always wanted to talk about.
No.
Yes. The first thing we're going to talk about is the inside of the home dome.
Uh-huh. The inside of the, like in the original, the inside of the home dome was gray and it had a control panel.
And it was huge.
Yes, it was huge. And occasionally the Teletubbies would go on it to fiddle around the controls. Sometimes even for a game.
Yeah, the home dome was huge, like an actual home for the Teletubbies. When
Exactly.
in the reboot, it was tiny.
Exactly. And let's go, and also, let's move on, and also, and as for the Tubby Toaster, they hardly ever press the button.
First of all, you can't even press the button. It only turns on itself.
Yeah, when in the original there was a button on the Tubby Toaster for a purpose to push it so that the Tubby Toast would come out.
Yeah. Also, there's actually three. There actually no. There's only five things I like about the inside of Home Dome.
Which is
The doors are pretty neat, even though they could have done better. I'd like the Tubby Custard ride. The tables and the chairs are really nice. The beds look pretty, pretty comfortable. More comfortable than the original. The original ones look kind of stiff.
uh-huh. And and not to mention in the original they had to work with what they have. They wanted to work with what they had because in the early episodes of the original they only had like tinfoil for the blankets,
Yeah, and now to go on to the fifth thing I like about the inside of Home Dome.
which is
Even though the Teletubby slide was awesome, it looked really fun. The dup dup looks pretty fun too.
uh-huh.
I mean, like I'd like to say the same thing. The Tubby slide and the dup dup look pretty fun to go on.
Yeah, but nothing could beat the slide.
Yeah, the slide looks really fun. You could go up and down on it. Even though the same thing for the dup dup, but all you do is just stand there. You could just sleep on it. When you go on the Tubby slide, you'll actually be excited and can't wait to go to the end and go back up and do it again over and over.
Yeah. Now that we got the pros out of the way, let's talk about the cons. The biggest one is News redesign. The biggest one is News recoloring.
New and the original was blue, and blue is my favorite color. But in the original, they mixed it with three colors. I
In the
can't.
reboot, in the reboot. You're talking about the reboot next.
Oh yeah. Anyways, the reboot had gold, pink, and orange.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't help but laugh at your overreactions.
I'm sorry. It's just that Nunu looks like a girl in this one.
Yeah, not to mention, we barely even see him get on anything. It just randomly cuts to something and he's already on. Similar to the Teletubbies. It just cuts to a baby sun clip and the Teletubbies are already in the Tubby car. By the way, we'll get to that later.
Yeah. And now to go into the voice trumpets. There's only three of them, which I'm kind of upset about because the other two were also my other favorite voice trumpets. And in season one, before we go on to season two, which is next, we only see the smiley face one in the intro, but that was it. The only one we see is like the one from Tubby Bye Bye, and the other one from Bubbles, the one that
Uh
says
huh.
"Time for Teletubby Sleepy Buys."
Yes, and not only and on topic with the voice trumpets, they fucked up the way they came up.
The Teletubbies now have babies. What the hell?
In a video, in a Mario Bros. Teletubbies reaction, Mario actually threw up when he saw the Teletubbies had babies of their own, which it's just really creepy and disgusting.
Also,
Like,
also shout out to Brendan. That's you. Shout out to Bonnie Fan 3000, which is the one that creates the Mario reactions. Shout out to him.
yep, and also, uh, like I was watching, like in the commentary, understanding Teletubbies, Ann Wood said that the Teletubbies themselves are technological babies, having
Yeah,
babies of their own.
not just that. Anne Wood never watched it. So I've read an article. She didn't watch it. She's not, and I could see why. I could see why.
And the fact that she said that she was a bit sad about her reboot, about her show being recreated, well, I think she might have changed her mind on that.
How'd you know? What happened? Wait, did something go wrong? in a reboot.
Guessing that she probably changed her opinion when she felt really, really disappointed about all the changes that happened in the reboot without her involvement.
There's only one thing I like how they did in the reboot. In the credits, they actually gave credit to the original creators, which was Ann Wood and Andrew Daveport.
Yeah. And going to Poe's actress, in the latest episode, she sounded so energetic. Like she didn't sound like fatty fatty ma ma ma. Like, and also she barely even does Poe still use the fatty fatty ma 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 thing?
Not much, actually. Not much.
Well, that was iconic about her because she was because the person that played Poe was a person from China, and she actually knew Chinese Cantonese. So that's why Poe kept saying "fatty fatty ma ma ma."
And when she counts, I remember this from the Four Happy Teletubbies. She said numbers in Cantonese like ya, yi, sa.
Yes, yeah, like yeah, she was like "ya ye sa," which in the reboot she doesn't even say that at all, at all.
In the original, Poe was adorable, sounded adorable, and I would love to interview the
Hug
original.
her.
Yeah.
Yep, and yeah, would love to talk to the original voice for Poe and would like to hug her.
Yes. Oh my god. Oh my god. I loved Poe in the original series. But now in the reboot, she is cute. I'll admit she's still cute, but like, come on, get off the cocaine. Holy crap, dude.
Exactly. And there were a few points where the Teletubbies actually, and there were a few points where the Teletubbies in the reboot did actually go a little too over the top at times. Like, take for example, in one brief scene in the third episode, I think it was the first appearance of the Tubby phone, but Tinky Winky sounded so high pitched when he went to the Tubby phone.
I know he went like like a freaking 15-year-old mad scientist.
You know, I guess that would actually make sense. I guess Takewiki has a secret identity of his own.
Bum bum bum.
Uh-huh.
Alright, now we're going off track. Let's go back to where we were. I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So, like, and, yeah, that just gets to my, let's see. That just gets to one of my, here's another one of my problems that I had with the reboot. They barely eat the tubby custard. Like in the original, in the original, it was just a tubby custard machine where the Teletubbies would operate the tubby custard. There was a button to turn it on, a lever to insert a tubby ball, a third button which is unexplained, another lever to lower the tubby custard tap, and the red button and the last button was a red button to turn the tubby custard on. But in the reboot, they made a tubby custard train, and the point of that was to ride it so that tubby custard can be made.
Which I thought was that's the only time when the Teletubbies reboot got creative.
Exactly.
Like I said, we're not hating on it. It's just like I said before, over a million times. Change some things, guys. Come on. If there's ever going to be a third season, I swear, if nothing's going to change, not to be mean, but I give up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. And, also, hold on. Oh, I just wanted to check if my TV volume was low, so nobody could hear it. But anyways, like in the newer episodes, they write it, but they don't eat the tubby custard. And borrowing that, they don't even sit at the table to eat the tubby custard. They just stand up with their bibs on.
Yeah, in the third quarter of the first season, which is what we're still talking about, we actually saw the Telecaster train go outside, but now we hardly see it go outside. We hardly see the Teletubbies ride it, and we hardly. Okay, now we're gonna go on to season two. Sorry, but we're gonna go on to season two, Brendan.
Yeah. Okay. So, in the first episode was actually the first one. The first episode was actually I want. The first episode, ironically, was the first one to have a story heavy plot.
Oh yeah, to close the gate. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was. To be honest, I kind of saw that coming.
Yep. Yeah, but and in the reboot, yeah, in the first episode, I was hoping that the Teletubbies would hide somewhere outside because the narrator said the Teletubbies went out there.
Yes, oh my god, and by out there, they meant by inside. Home freaking
Yes,
dome. Not literally
yes.
outside. Outside.
Yeah. Like if Catherine Williams wanted to change the script, it would have been like the Teletubbies were hiding outside.
And by outside, Miss Catherine Williams, aka I'm the better writer than you, we're gonna have them outside, literally outside. I got an idea. No, how about we have them outside in Home Dome? But that's inside. What? The little kids won't notice?
I'm guessing some of them did.
Like us! Like us Teletubby fans.
Exactly. And I gotta say, the hiding places for the Teletubbies was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, they were hiding in some of the most silliest yet easiest places to find them.
I was hoping them to hide outside, and I do mean in the grass on the field. Like, oh, I don't know, a rabbit playing with some rabbits in a faraway hole, hiding behind a tree, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but all we see them is hiding behind Dop Dop, but behind the bed, and behind the bed again.
Uh huh. What a wasted opportunity. What
Yeah,
a wasted opportunity.
yeah, that was a good opportunity, but Joe ruined it.
Uh huh. And
Just
not
like
to
the
mention, go ahead.
just like the opportunity to reboot the Teletubbies franchise itself.
Exactly. And
Speaking of
um, uh,
Teletubbies, sorry to cut you off again, Brendan, but I saw in an article that the Teletubbies is getting a toy line of remote controlled Teletubbies.
you can't be serious.
No, I'ma get a snapshot of it because I saw it in Corey's reboot fan club. Hold on.
For those of you who are watching it, I'm sorry, but you can't. I'm sorry, but you don't. You can't see it unless if Colton puts a picture in front of it.
Yeah, I will because it'll be kind of unfair that we only see it and not them.
Uh, also, going back to the Teletubbies, did you know that? Well, this is pretty obvious, but for those who don't know about the Teletubbies, they're voiced by Nicole Watterson herself.
Yes. We're what?
Yep.
Okay, I got it. I got the snapshot. I'm gonna link it to you in the chat. Um,
Again, for those of you who are watching, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna. I'm sorry, but you can't see it.
yeah, you can't see it in the chat, but I'll pull up a picture as I edit the video. Alright, so, okay, here it is, guys, here it is.
I'm gonna watch it for myself. I'm gonna see that in the chat. I wonder how Anne would.
Oh, sorry, that was my mom and dad. Alright, so anyways, are you looking at it?
Kind of sound like your dad.
It
Kind of sound
was.
like a dad.
Alright, so you're looking at the snapshot?
Yeah. I'm curious as to my question on how Anne Wood thought when she saw the Tiddlytubbies.
Yeah, how, how, if I met her
Yeah,
or interview her,
yeah. Let alone on Andrew Davenport.
alright, so, anyways, so, yeah, be aware that around July, there's gonna be a new Teletubbies toy line for the Teletubbies.
Yep.
Yay. I'd like to see a voice trumpet one where the little kids can operate their own voice trumpet. That would be awesome. I would totally buy it.
Yeah, it would also make different sounds like time for Tubby bye bye 3 times.
I doubt that though. But so anyways, um is there anything else you'd like to say before we end the podcast, Brendan?
Well, all in all, I thought the Teletubbies reboot was just it's not bad, but it's just really, really mediocre.
Yeah.
And um sometimes the Teletubbies can be predictable for the reboot.
Yeah. So after each podcast when we review a show or a reboot or talk about a nostalgic show that we'll usually rate it. So usually Brent is going to give the first rating. So Brennan, what's your rating of the Teletubbies reboot out of 10?
Um for season 1, I would rate it at 7 out of 10. And for season 2 so far, since the episodes are still being made and airing or during the time of this recording, uh 4 out of 10 to be my final answer.
Yeah. For season 1 for me, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 because they did good, but I mean like at least they tried. I mean like but the reason why it didn't get the other 2% is because I mean they didn't really like the recreations of the original moments weren't as good as the original moments. But for season
Yeah.
two, as for season 2 right now, I'd actually give it a 5 out of 10 because
Huh.
I like how they made different Teletubby moments instead of remaking them, and um, I like how they actually showed it in nighttime in Teletubby Land. That is like the second time the Teletubbies reboot got creative, because in the original we never saw it at nighttime at all, except that picture, which I'll pull up in the editing software that I was editing.
So yeah, here's the picture, folks.
Ding. Yeah, and the reason why the other 5% is not there is because I mean like the Teletubbies are getting more and more childish. I understand just to entertain the kids and to make the kids smile and happy and be entertained, but like at least like cool it down a bit. Take a chill pill. Take a break from the cocaine, man.
Not to mention the Teletubbies reboot in season 2 is just really, really, just really cartoonized. The sky's different. The saturation is brighter.
And it was pretty neat.
Yeah. As for the stories, even though they're good, they just fall under kind of bad territory.
Yeah. So thank you for watching this podcast.
All right. Yep. Thank you for watching, and I'll give you a hint as to what our next podcast will be. Um. Yeah. Our hint for the day is for people who like to sing songs and make you smile. What will it be? Leave a comment down. Well, if you already know what it is, leave a comment down below. Or if you don't, then tune in next week for our next podcast, and you will find out. This is Brennan Barney.
And Colin Fonseca signing off.
Signing off. Peace!
Bye bye.